So, are you still streaming music or have you stopped the streaming flow? Well, we just checked out the latest figures and we'll tell you more about that coming up on today's current music news with Jade.
And Jay.
And we're keeping you up to date on the ever-changing world of music.
And our top story today, of course, is the death of the late, great Kenny Rogers, one of the biggest artists in the history of country music, has died after a long illness at age 81. This is an artist with 21 number one hits on the country chart, two of which also topped the pop charts. He was an early crossover success that was one of the first country stars to achieve the kind of mega fame that artists like Garth Brooks and Shania Twain would later achieve.
And Dolly Parton, a person who's worked with him on numerous occasions, great friends, posted on Instagram sharing her thoughts and feelings about Kenny Rogers.
I couldn't believe it this morning when I got up and turned on the TV, checking to see what the coronavirus was doing. And they told me that my friend and singing partner, Kenny Rogers, had passed away. And I know that we all know Kenny's in a better place than we are today. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be talking to God sometime today, if he ain't already. And he's going to be asking him to spread some light on a bunch of this darkness going on here. But I loved Kenny with all my heart. And my heart's broken. And a big old chunk of it has gone with him today. And I think that I can speak for all his family, his friends and fans when I say that I will always love you. Just happened to have this picture when I walked out this morning of us. I walked out and I thought, well, maybe I'll hold that up to everybody. So I know you're sad as I am, but God bless you, Kenny. Fly high, straight to the arms of God. And to the rest of you, keep the faith.
Dolly Parton, of course, collaborated with Kenny Rogers on numerous collaborations, most famously their 1983 duet, Islands in the Stream, which is one of those songs that hit number one on both the country chart and the pop chart. In an interview with NPR's Steve Inskeep in 2012, Kenny Rogers said the types of songs that he sang tended to fall into two categories.
One is ballads that say what every man would like to say and every woman would like to hear. And the other thing are story songs that have social significance. Reuben James was about a black man who raised a white child. Coward of the County was about a rape. Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town was about a guy who came home from war. And that's really what I love to do, songs that you love them before you realize what they're about, but you get the message vicariously once you learn to like the song.
So we're remembering and celebrating the great Kenny Rogers. And of course, the music world continues to be in flux. We're still in what seems to be an extended period of social distancing. And so artists are continuing to jump online and connect with their fans.
Loca Connie's Adam Weiner, lead singer of the band, hung out with the Current's morning show host Jill Riley, and he talked about not just putting on these live shows, but also really the power of radio in such a strange, uncertain time.
This is a trying time, but just like through the history of this country, there have been very difficult times, and we rose to the challenge, and we came out stronger. The service that you guys provide at the Current on the radio is so important right now. Think about when we were in the Great Depression, and all of a sudden people were getting their news from the radio. That's really when radio exploded in this country. And people were listening to music, and they were listening to President Roosevelt speak. And it was a way that people, as despondent as they were, they saw there was a future for us. And I am excited to see the energy that I'm seeing from all my neighbors and all my pals we're all putting our heads together, and we're going to try and make this a better world. And art is a part of that world. Art does not stop.
So we'll be checking in with more artists throughout the week, and as the days go on, we'll be sharing those stories back with you on the Current's Music News. And if you want to get in on them, you want to watch them in their entirety, you can always go to thecurrent.org to check those out.
So with everything in flux right now, concerts are not happening for the time being. Artists are moving to live stream, and it's also shaking up release schedules. In some cases, artists are releasing music that they might not otherwise have released except for this unusual situation.
Father John Misty released this wonderful live performance of his, and he is releasing it to support MusiCare COVID-19 Relief Fund. So this is him giving back to other artists by releasing some, before this, previously unreleased music.
And then in other cases, artists are delaying planned releases, because the way an album cycle typically works is that you release an album and then you tour behind it and you connect with your fans that way, and that helps promote the music and vice versa. So artists including Haim are pushing back their planned album releases until a time comes when it's safe to perform live again and connect with their fans.
Yeah, this is really strange. We're going to be continuing to follow this because it sounds like a lot of artists are actually postponing and pushing back their release dates. But at the same time, we've got brand new music from The Weeknd and Childish Gambino. So it's always one of those things where who's going to jump on this and release those covers and new songs, and who's going to wait and see what happens. And of course, we'll keep you posted on that. And speaking of streaming, Jay, you noticed something really interesting.
Yeah, this was a story that really surprised me. You'd think, okay, people are social distancing, they're home, they're ready to consume some media, but it turns out they might be turning to Netflix instead of Spotify. It turns out that according to Rolling Stone, in the last week, both album sales, unsurprisingly with many stores closed, but also online music streams have dropped significantly.
Yeah, and we don't really know exactly if this is the start of a new trend or if this is just something for this first week as people are doing their social isolation. But nevertheless, it's something to watch for sure, to keep an eye on as to where these numbers are going to go.
So there are actually 3 genres that have seen their streaming numbers increase. Any guess as to what those might be, Jade?
Musicals? I just imagine people singing along to soundtracks, but I'm probably wrong. You should just tell us anyways.
Well, my musical streaming has gone up, but the genres that are doing well in streaming right now are actually folk music, classical music, probably people looking for some calming instrumental sounds right now, and actually children's music. Got the kids home from school.
I'm going to take that as a minute to plug our stream of music, Rock the Cradle Radio. If you want to find that, you can find it at thecurrent.org. But it totally makes sense. You're at home with the kids. You still have to do your work from home or, I don't know, clean the house, do whatever you need to be doing, signing up for unemployment. Having those kids listening to something maybe educational or definitely something that is made for kids makes a lot of sense.
So among the stars who have been getting on social media to connect with their fans is the legendary Neil Diamond and his dog.
I saw this. A lot of artists are kind of doing these joke parody songs of their big hits to remind us all that there is the pandemic and there are things that we can be doing to kind of safeguard ourselves and those around us. So this one was my joy over the weekend.
Hands, washing hands, reaching out, don't touch me, I won't touch you, sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.
And that's today's music news. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. And in the meantime, you can listen to The Current on the radio, on our web stream, on our app, or on your smart speaker. And click in the comments to let us know what music stories are meaningful to you right now.
Stay safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely.